Well, there's a call to comment for the Employment Equity Act. Now, I have spoken about this Employment Equity Act before, but these call to comments are for the sector-specific numerical targets, whatever that means. Listen, this can all be very confusing. So in this episode, ladies and gentlemen, I have a guest on the show that will hopefully clarify everything. But before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, please like this video, share it far and wide, subscribe to the channel because I've got more content coming your way, and hit that bell notification so you're notified every time there's a new episode.
My wife should get here.
Did I hear that correctly? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Newsflash. I'm your host, Joe Emilio. Thanks for tuning in. Today, there will be no meme of the day because we have a guest. As I've mentioned before, the government has called for comments to the proposal of sector-specific numerical targets in the Employment Equity Act. The Employment Equity Act was talked about last year. You'll remember I did a video on it. Is this the same or is it different? Why should we be concerned again this time? It's all very confusing, but my guest should clarify exactly what is going on. He is none other than the legal advisor for DRSA, Mr. Danie Eloff. Hello, Daniel. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you here, and thank you so much for your time. So first, I want to ask you, why should people be concerned about this proposal of the sector-specific numerical targets in the Employment Equity Act, which is a huge mouthful, but maybe just, explain what it's about, why people should be concerned.
Yeah, I think it's very important. I argue that the main broad reason why people should be concerned and interested in these regulations is because, we're not living up to the South African dream of having a non-racial society. These regulations aren't brand new, out of thin air regulations. They're an updating of regulations published in May of 2023, which are now being updated following a court case that the Trade Union Solidarity won at the end of last year in October, where they reached a settlement agreement with the Department of Labor. So perhaps to start off with that in mind, what these regulations are is they get published from time to time by the Department of Employment and Labor, by the Minister of Labor, and they determine the racial composition targets of various sectors of the economy. So basically saying in this sector, you have to have X amount of black people employed, X amount of colored people, X amount of white people, X amount of Indians, etc. And so it's not a new thing. I mean, that's been part of our unfortunate racialized history of not even the past 20 or 30 years, the past 100 years. South Africa has always been a highly racialized country. And so it's not new, but it's being updated. And there's a chance for people to comment. So I encourage people to comment on these regulations, not necessarily to say, I don't like about, this composition should be less black or more white or more black or more colored, whatever. I encourage people to comment to basically voice their opposition to us continuing to categorize people by their race. I find it absolutely horrendous that in a country with its very racialized past and a past that we're trying to get away from, we're continuing to racialize our country. And that's why it's important for people to comment, in my view, is to basically say no to this type of thing, to tell government we're fed up with you categorizing every single person according to their race. And let's, create this merit-based society that we all want to see, and one that actually, is doing well and flourishes and provides economic opportunity to all people.
I couldn't agree more with that. So this is the same because I remember last year there was this whole thing about the Employment Equity Act. People were really pissed off because it was giving a percentage of certain races to be hired in certain sectors. But then people were saying, yeah, but if there's an area or province where there's more colored than white or black or whatever, that percentage doesn't make sense because then no one's that percentage can't happen, or something about half how are you going to hire half an Indian?
Yes.
So stuff. Is that the same? Is this the same act that's being updated?
So it's not the same act that's being updated, but it's regulations in terms of that act that have been promulgated. So basically, there's the Employment Equity Act. Last year, there was the effort to revise that act, and they're still busy with that amendment. But in terms of that old act, they've now issued these regulations that are open for public comment. But you're completely right. Unfortunately, we get these bizarre situations and scenarios where there's this example in KwaZulu-Natal that happened a couple of years ago in the South African Police Service, where an Indian lady, she applied for a promotion, and they said to her in the feedback, we can't promote you because, exactly like you said, they said we can only have 0.7 or 1.7 or whatever number of Indians, and therefore we can't appoint you. And what they did is they then appointed no one. So they didn't even fill the vacancy, where this lady was, completely the best candidate, the one that should have gotten the job, but because they have these very bizarre and strict applications of these racial targets, they just didn't appoint to her or anyone else. So it really does lead to very strange situations. Another great example of this is a couple of years ago in the Western Cape for the Legal Practice Council, which is the professional body for all legal practitioners. So that's attorneys and advocates. They have a regional sort of an advisory board that you can serve on. And the board is comprised of 8 members. So it's basically a white male and a white female, a black male and a black female, a colored male and a colored female, and an Indian male and Indian female. And what bizarrely happened is I'm not sure I can't recall whether it was a colored or a black lady, but what in essence happened is this candidate got more votes than one of the white candidates. But because they set the strict target of having one of each gender, one of each race, they threw off the other lady, the colored or black lady, and replaced her with one of the white candidates. So that's the sad reality of having a racialized system and framework like this, is you end up having these bizarre situations and scenarios which any reasonable person would tell you is absolutely nuts.
And I agree 100%. Like you said earlier, it's time to move past race and all that stuff. I mean, like you said, over 100 years with South Africa dealing with racial issues, we should have learned from our past and just done away with racial anything, really. BEE, all that other stuff that also interferes with actually progressing South Africa. Ironically, because BEE is supposed to progress South Africa. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here, why it's important to go comment on these kinds of things. So please head over to Dear SA. Link is in the description. I've also left a link directly to the campaign that they have running right now. So please go and give your comment. And yeah, hopefully we can put an end to these kinds of policies that are no longer needed in South Africa. Daniel, thank you so much.
Always a pleasure, Joe.
If you enjoyed this content, please leave a like on this video, share it far and wide, and subscribe to the channel. I've got more content coming your way. And if you really enjoy what I do on this channel, then consider becoming a member. You get exclusive perks, and one of which is that you get to watch these episodes first before anybody else. For less than a Netflix subscription, you can support me and what I do on this channel. And with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Your newsflash is in.
We need your voice on Google Maps or even our own Alexa. This is funny to me because a couple of people have suggested this over the past couple of years, and it makes me laugh. Because have you guys seen how people on the internet get all angry and stuff because of my voice and my accent? It makes them furious. And this is on the internet where they can just scroll by. Imagine if I infiltrate their vehicles. It would be funny. In 400 meters there by the robot, you must turn right. And remember to put on your flicker lig. Don't be a cuckold. In 200 meters you will reach your destination. Really? You're going to the bar again? Is that what you're doing with your life, sir? / madam. You are currently driving 60 in an 80 zone. Speed it up, sir. People have places to be, Blarry. I will be a very judgmental GPS. I'm just telling you. right off the bat. I don't think you want me in your vehicle. I will distract you and judge you. Okay, bye.